The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hilary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
Good morning, liberty lovers and ecclesiastics all across the globe. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from the Bunker Eye Studios somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. And let me tell you, this morning, I thought I'd be able to chill out a little bit by sleeping for a few hours. No, it didn't happen. Sorry, it did not happen. Here it is, Wednesday, June number 7 in the year of our Lord 2017. Call-in number is 603-835-3226. Folks, I had it was, if this show were on last night when I was doing show prep, and early this morning when I was doing show prep, I can guarantee you an F-bomb would have been dropped. You have got to be kidding me, all this crap that is going on right now. I mean, here we are. We have a number of Muslim Islamic terror attacks in the Western world in the past week. And we've got a bunch of idiotic freaking dolts in this country talking about, we can't be so intolerant. It's Donald Trump's fault for a terror attack because he wants to take a hard stand against terrorism. Frankly, folks, let me be clear. Let me be very, very, very clear. I want Donald Trump to take a hard stand. You better believe it. I want Donald Trump to take a hard stand against terrorism, no matter where it comes from, no matter who's doing it, all over the globe. But let me be clear. I want Donald Trump to take a hard stand against Islam, period. Now, I don't know how many times I've said it before. Islam is not a peaceful religion. And if you come at me with that bullshit, you're going to have a fight on your hands. I am not going to sit back and take this anymore. No. We've got social media out there trying to limit what people say about Islam. Are you kidding me? Do you know how evil gets to proliferate? It gets to proliferate because good people do nothing and say nothing. You can't allow this stuff to proliferate anywhere. I mean, for crying out loud, we've got them walking down the streets of Manhattan in front of Donald Trump's residence, having a Muslim call to prayer. And you've got a goddamn idiot for a mayor who lets it happen. Cannot believe this crap. And don't you dare, you stupid little idiot, snowflake liberal, tell me about tolerance, because the most intolerant people in the world are Islamists. They will throw your ass off a building in a heartbeat. What they want to do is get to the rooftop of Trump Tower so they can drag your asses to the top and throw you over. You better damn well wake up. And the people down that supposedly they call us our leaders, you're not our leaders. You're elected officials. Stop freaking acting like you know more than we do, that you're better than we are, and that you're going to lead this country. We didn't hire you and elect you to lead. We hired you to run the government. The president is the one who's hired to lead. He's called the commander-in-chief for a reason. Now, you people just better get off your little higher than that. You're a stupid little horse thinking you're high and mighty. You damn liberals out there in Hollywood, I am done with all of you. You are so freaking hypocritical. I can't believe this. You've got people out there, Beckel gets fired for a minor offense of saying something that might be construed as racist, and I hope you don't have little ones listening, folks. You have got Bill Maher, because he's a wonderful liberal, out there saying the word nigga, and everybody surrounds him and says, oh, well, he didn't mean it that way. He didn't mean it in a bad way. No, he meant it in a bad way. The man is a damn racist. Plain and simple. This is not the first time he said that word. It won't be the last. It's not the first time he's called brown people out. It won't be the last. He's a damn racist. And yeah, you can tell Bill Maher I said it. I don't care if he makes $50 million a year and I don't. I don't give a damn. I will slap the piss out of him. If I'm on the same set that man is and he uses that word, I am going to slap the piss out of him. I mean, that word has a specific meaning and it ain't nice. And all you stupid little niggas out there better stop using the word and thinking that it's cool and sexy and means love and understanding, because it doesn't. Shows how ignorant you are. And you're falling into the trap of the KKK. That's it. That's who's doing it, folks. In the KKK, the Democratic Party is still the home of the Ku Klux Klan. You can march out David Duke on the Republican side all you want to. David Duke never got a national elected office, did he? No. Republicans turned their back on him, didn't they? Yes, they did. Who did the Democrats embrace? Robert freaking Byrd. What was he, a grand cyclops or whatever the hell they want to call that shit? I mean, this crap is it is beyond the pale. Unfreaking believable. Folks, in the paper pile this morning, there is so much stuff. It's not, later this morning, of course, we've got the Intel report. Y'all better be here for this one. I got a pre-briefing on this report that's going to happen this morning. Let me tell you something. Y'all better be here for this one. Later this morning, we've got a new feature after that called Future Shock. People have lost their damn minds. Humanity has lost its damn mind. Can somebody please tell me, how is it being open and kind and loving if you're a bunch of lambs and you let the wolf into your stall? Who is that loving and kind to? Well, I tell you who it's loving and kind to. Yeah, it is loving and kind. It's loving and kind to the wolf, not to the lambs. Let me tell you who the wolf is. The wolf used to be communism. By the way, all of you leftists out there, you socialists, do you realize that Islam, Sharia law, is worse than communism? At least with communism, if you did something wrong, they'd probably send you to the gulag or something in Siberia. Oh, hell, Sharia law says you die. There is no appeal. You don't even get a fair trial. Oh, you're accused of it by a couple of Islamists? Oh, you're guilty. Hang them or behead them. That's it. Now, I don't know why I got to keep reminding people of this. Other than the fact that the only reason that you people on the left are trying to be so cooperative and embracing of Islam is simply out of hatred for the right. Because no matter what, you cannot allow the right, the conservatives, to be correct about anything. Because somehow, if we're right about something, if we're correct about something, somehow that makes you less of a human being, I guess. I have no idea. But this is Gay Pride Month. And I will be damned if I have not seen pictures online from this year's events all across the country where gay people are showing support for Islam. Are you freaking kidding me? Now, what kind of stupid must you be? Do you think that if you embrace them and say, oh, I love you, honey, you're so sweet, I love your religion, that they're going to let you live? You're going to be the first one marched up to the top of Trump Tower and tossed off the roof. What the hell is going on? And there was hope, a little bit of hope with Theresa May, but she's just, you Brits, you guys been sold out. Your prime minister is not fully behind you. Let me tell you, if I were Theresa May, I'd start revoking citizenship from these people. I'd start deporting them. You can't tell me that you've got to. What is this? The latest attack. One of them, he was on some. They had a freaking TV show in England called The Jihadist Next Door. What? This guy was on this TV show for almost a year, and all you can do now is Scotland Yard can say, well, MI5 has had him, he's on their watch list. Well, he ought to be more than on your watch list. He ought to have been deported. Jihadists next door? Well, what is that? Was that supposed to show how accepting and open-minded you could be? Well, now you got 7 people dead that should be alive. Come to find out, one of them is an American woman who fell in love with a British man, and she was over there. She got killed. Why would you allow this to happen in your country? Well, I don't know why, because we're trying to do the same damn thing here. We're letting these people roam the streets so they can go in front of the president's private residence and do their act of prayer. We're supposed to allow this? Now, let me tell you something. Islam is not a religion, people. And by the way, aren't you on the left? Aren't you the ones who've been trying to get rid of religion out of government? Out of the public square? Oh, you can't have a bunch of Christians walking down the street, saying praise Jesus, can you? Oh no, because you'll flip out. But you can let a mob walk down the street, get on their hands and knees and bounce their heads off the sidewalk and say praise Allah. And that's just fine. Oh, that shows how wonderful and open and accepting we are, Rod. They come to my town. I am not going to be so wonderfully open and accepting. I guarantee you. You're listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shave brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around while primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Avon Shave gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
603-835-3226. Let's head out to the middle of the country. Indianapolis, Indiana, affectionately known as Indy. There evidently is a billboard out there in Indy. And the billboard calls out the Prophet Muhammad. And how much you want to bet that the billboard is going to get taken down because Muslims in Indiana are calling the billboard vile, repulsive, and because it insults the Prophet Muhammad. Now, all the billboard does is point out the truth about Muhammad. The big lettered headline on the billboard, it's a white letters on a black background, very simple. The big headline says "The Perfect Man," and then it has check boxes. Married 6-year-old, slave owner and dealer. By the way, you blacks out there and you Nation of Islam, y'all some special kind of stupid. Now, you do realize who some of the biggest slave trade. I mean, you want to call out white people for being slave owners back in the day in this country? You know what some of the biggest slave traders were in the day? Well, they were Moors, Islam, Muslims. They were some of the biggest. Who do you think the Dutch were dealing with? Do you think that they all went down there? We've got this false narrative because of Kunta Kinte and Roots that you'd be surprised how many people think that what happened is all those American white people took those ships over to Africa and they trapped black Africans like animals. No, they didn't. That was not the way most of the slave trade was done. Most of the slave trade, all they had to do was pull up their ships to some ports in the near Middle East and have some imam or whoever they wanted to call him back then and say, okay, I've got 10 for you today. How much are you going to pay me? That's how it happened. And the Dutch were just like, well, hey, we can make money off this. We'll do this. And we wonder why, you would think that Islam would be very nice to the Dutch because, they did business with them so long ago. So you have this billboard. It says, the perfect man, married a 6-year-old, a slave owner and dealer. He was a rapist, beheaded 600 Jews in one day, 13 wives, 11 at one time, tortured and killed unbelievers. Well, they still do that. They still do most of the, I don't know if they marry children, though. We've seen it. Seen mass weddings where these middle-aged Muslim men are marrying these 10 and 12-year-old girls. That's just sick. And if you think the slave trade is done, yeah, you really are some kind of stupid. And by the way, well, they may not commit rape because they don't call it rape. Under Islam, if you get raped, ladies, it's your fault. Because somehow you beguiled them, and they're worse than dogs. They can't control themselves. They see somebody who they think is pretty and like, I can't control myself. I'm just gonna have to have sex with you. Well, yeah, here in this country we call it rape. Over there they say, well, it's your fault, and if you're gonna blame a man, you better have like 5 or 6 witnesses who are all men, because if any of them say it wasn't rape, then we're gonna stone you. Really? Do we got to keep pointing this crap out? This is not something that used to happen a long time ago. This is stuff that is still happening today. Got a story here about a woman. Here's a story of a woman here. She is in, where is she? She's a Toronto woman. No. There's another story here. You know what? I got to pull it out of the paper pile, and we'll get to that story as soon as we get back from the break. Don't. This is stuff that's happening today, folks. What I'm about to share with you is about stuff that's happening today. It didn't take place 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Today in 2017. I want to see you liberals defend this.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
is a woman out in Saudi Arabia who's in trouble with the Saudi government again. And I know some people are saying, Rod, why do you say it like that? I say it like that because it's an insult to the Saudis. Remember when George Herbert Walker Bush used to say Saddam instead of Saddam? Well, because when you mispronounce their name, it's a tremendous insult to them. I mean, hell, people mispronounce my name all the time. You'd be surprised how many times people can't get Eccles right. Doesn't insult me at all. But you mispronounce an Islamist name. Oh man, there aren't too many more insults you could possibly give them. So that's why I say Saudi. So we have a Saudi human rights activist. This woman who originally broke the ban on women driving in Saudi Arabia back in 2015. Anybody look at a calendar? Anybody tell me what year this is? 2017? Oh, so 2 years ago. She was arrested for driving a car. I know. There are a lot of people in this country thinking, well, maybe we should ban women here too, Rod. I mean, that might not be a bad idea. By the way, speaking, on an insurance note, males get a bad rap on insurance. And, women always talk about, men get bad raps. Now, let me just take a side note here. Seriously, we do. Women can go into places like, Payless shoes. They can buy shoes for $1. I have never seen one damn man shoe for a pair of shoes for $1. I used to walk into that store and see, sale, buy one, get one, women's shoes only. But guys got to pay full price. You know what women say? Well, men can get it. Men's haircuts are cheaper. No, I beg to differ, actually. You walk into one of these, haircuts for something or haircuts for, I don't know. I don't go to those cheap places. But I know here that, a haircut doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It's like $25. Well, because usually women's haircuts cost more because they have to do more to the woman's hair. I'm just saying, generally speaking. Maybe that's why lesbians get men's cuts, because it's cheaper. I don't do much. But it's true. And then we got to pay more for insurance because we're male. It doesn't matter how what you're until you're like 25 or 30. Men pay a lot more for insurance than women. And it doesn't matter how safe of a you could be a male and never get a ticket. And you can be a girl, and this has been proven. I used to be in the insurance industry, so I know about this stuff. You could be a girl and get as many as 3 speeding tickets in that same time period, and your insurance will still be cheaper than a boy's. It's the way it is. The insurance companies claim that because males take more risk, and therefore they're a bigger risk to insure. The reality is that for the longest time, there were more male drivers in this country than female drivers. That's the truth. So it's bent in that direction for a reason, because insuring a male is more profitable than insuring a female. I hate to, I know I'm going to get some insurance guy who says, Rod, that's not true. And I'm telling you right now, I have been in the insurance industry. I've seen the underwriting rules, and that is the truth. So we have this Saudi woman who's a human rights activist who back in 2015 was arrested and held for 73 days for simply driving a damn car. Now, how did she get caught? Well, evidently she had the audacity to drive into Saudi Arabia from the neighboring UAE, United Arab Emirates. For that offense, she spent 73 days in jail, in custody. Now, after they released her, she ran for public office. By the way, 2015 was the first year that women could vote and run for publicly elected office. 2015. Oh yeah. What year is this again? 2017, yeah. So, what is Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia is a full-blown Islamic. Did you know that you're not supposed... there are special ways to dispose of newspaper in Saudi Arabia. Why? Because in Saudi Arabia, there are some newspapers here that do this. They print a prayer or a Bible verse. Well, in Saudi Arabia, the newspapers that print Muhammad verses, Islamic verse, that becomes holy. That whole newspaper becomes holy. So there is I don't know what it is, but there's a special way to dispose. You just can't throw it in the trash or recycle it like you can here. Because it's got holy scripture on it. And whenever holy scripture is written on something, that whole item becomes holy. I kid you not. Go ask somebody who's from Saudi Arabia. So this woman has been detained again. She was trying to leave the country. Maybe she got detained again a few days ago at the airport. I don't know if she drove to the airport herself or if she took a taxi. But evidently, according to this story from the New York Times, she got detained again. Oh, it's just terrible. She got detained. I mean, this is against all human rights. You liberal people and your stupid international human rights, how stupid are you? I mean, you people run around to all these little potentate countries and these banana republics, screaming, human rights, human rights. It's ridiculous. I don't know. Somebody needs to put together a number. There needs to be a survey of how many human rights activists have been detained and murdered by these wonderful potentates. So you guys, that in the end, you wanna hold up and post as some brilliant kind of world leader. And don't tell me you don't, because everybody wants to go to, all you liberals want to go to the UN. The UN can do this, and the UN should do that, and the UN should lead. That's bullshit. The UN shouldn't do a damn thing. The UN is full of those people that not only hate the United States, they hate the Western world. All they want from us is our freaking money. And they don't want to give it to their own people. How much money have we given to the continent of Africa? I mean, over the past 50 years, how much money? It's in the trillions from all over the world. And yet and still, there are still poor people in Africa. There are still starving children in Africa. Why? Because we've got wonderful Western leaders in the UN who don't try to get rid of all these wonderful evil potentates in these African countries. And these dictators and banana republic potentates in these African countries are literally raping their people. So all that money goes into their pocket and their coffers where they build these wonderful lavish palaces and they have their own private jets. Talk about global warming. How the hell, you got a poor country? How the hell is it that the president of that country has got a Learjet? Somebody want to explain that to me? I mean, if the country is that poor, the damn president should be riding around in a horse and buggy. He should be picking up the telegraph machine and saying, "I need a ride. Hey, Mr. President of the nearest country here, can you give me a lift to the next world meeting?" They shouldn't be landing in New York in their own damn private jet. I mean, come on, folks. I mean, hypocrisy is rampant here. I'm going through this on a daily basis, but last night it was just, and this morning it got to the point where I just had it. I could not believe what was coming through. You've got the ultimate in Stockholm syndrome is Islamic woman defending Islam. Oh, you're defending being raped and stoned to death and buried up to your neck in the dirt. You're defending not being able to leave your house unless you're covered head to toe and accompanied by an adult male member of your family. You are not offended for being outside by yourself, unaccompanied, and getting raped or harassed by other men. That's okay with you. Who is that okay? How can that possibly be okay with anybody look, in Islam, girls and women have a complete sense of worth stripped out of them. They have been conditioned to believe in their own minds that without a man, they're worthless. This is how you get these women to get up there and defend Islam. It's not Stockholm Syndrome. It's conditioning from an early age. Why do you think in many Islamic nations a girl can't get an education past 6th or 8th grade? Because, to them, what's the most dangerous thing in the world? The most dangerous thing in the world to an Islamic male is not a non-Islamic person. Oh, no. The most dangerous person in the world to them is an educated woman. Because like this woman, Lujain al-Hathulu, I don't know how you pronounce her name, sorry about that. H-al-Hathlou. She's a pretty lady. Well, actually, she's more than she's kind of gorgeous, actually. But she's not putting up with this stuff. She's an educated woman. And she doesn't see a problem with women driving by themselves and running for public office. Why? Because she's educated. Why do you think blacks and other slaves in this country and all over the world weren't allowed to learn how to read? It was against the law. Because the most dangerous people in the world to slavery and oppression is an educated person that you're trying to enslave or oppress. The most dangerous people to the American slave South was not the North or Abraham Lincoln. It was an educated slave. So when you educate women in these countries, you can't strip them of their self-worth. You can't put them back in a box because they know better. So how do you do it? Well, you want them to be smart enough just to be able to do basic things, so you teach them only up until the 6th or 8th grade, and that's it. They go past that, and they start getting smart. They start realizing their self-worth. Now, ain't that a pity? Now, I don't know about you, but yeah, I know I'm divorced, but my ex-wife was pretty smart. I give that to her. I didn't want some dumb bunny. I know there are guys out there that like the airheads. I don't. I like having a real conversation with somebody. In any case, here's a story out of Toronto. A Toronto woman swears allegiance to ISIS, and then was proceeded to try to attack people in the store. Yeah, this is coming from the Great White North. And by the way, Great White North is not referring to the complexion of the skin of the people of the North, because there are a lot of Asians in Canada. I just had Asian people coming from China, and why do Koreans go to Canada? China and Korea seem to be sending a lot of people to Canada. They go to Canada. I don't know. But the Asian population, if you will, Canadian Asian, or is it Asian Canadian, is a significant number now. Over the last 50 years, it has gone from nearly zero to a significant portion of their population. So it's not, and believe it or not, there are a lot of Indians from India in Canada. They come from a hot country like India, and they go to Canada. I don't know why. They see opportunity there. So when we say Great White North, we're referring to the snow, because it always seems to be covered in snow up there. But so she's in the Great White North, and their Islamic population is growing at a tremendously fast rate, thanks to their current leader, Mr. Trudeau. So I don't know. Maybe we're going to have to, at some point, if they keep doing this in Canada, well, hey, the 9/11 attackers, they came to the U.S. down through Canada. We might have to abandon Trump. They have to abandon the southern wall with Mexico and start working on start working on the wall on the north. That's a bigger, much bigger border. We might have to, start building a wall up north to keep them up there. Yeah, just saying.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came, defeat the would-be dictators, and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
Welcome back. So yeah, we have this wonderful Islamic woman up there in the wonderful Great White North, known as Canada, and she was a Scarborough, Ontario woman. She swore allegiance to ISIS in a Scarborough. Scarborough is a suburb of Toronto. In a Scarborough courtroom where she appeared to face allegations that she swung a golf club at hardware store employees while screaming threats and Islamic chants. I guess she didn't. She must have mistaken the employees' heads for golf balls. So before Tuesday's proceedings started, Justice of the Peace Alice Napier asked Rehab Dumash, who happens to be 32, to identify herself in court, but she didn't initially answer the question. Instead, she said, "ISIS, I pledge to the leader of believers, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi," is what she blurted out to an interpreter. Now, al-Baghdadi, as everybody knows, is the leader of the Sunni militant jihadist group known as the Islamic State of Iraq, otherwise known as ISIS. And, well, if you're talking to Obama, it's ISIS State of Levant. ISIL. Yeah. So she goes into a store, picks up a golf club, and starts swinging at people. What prompts people to do that? What kind of sicko must you be that it's kind of like being, you're on London Bridge. You're on London Bridge, and the first thing that comes to mind is, I'm going to run them all down. In the name of Allah, in the name of Muhammad, run them all down. And so people who are just minding their own business, you don't know who they are. Some of them might even, be fellow Muslims. You don't know who they are. And you just decide to go rent a van, take it to London Bridge, and then gun the engine and run people over. Now, normally, if you ever watch Criminal Minds, they give special names to those kind of people. They have mental conditions. They still try to catch them and lock them up, but they have mental issues. You've got to be some sort of mental psychopath to think that this is okay. I am going to walk into a store, pick up a golf club, and start swinging at the heads, pretending they're golf balls. Is that okay with you, husband? Yes, woman. Do it. Show goodness and grace to Allah. Do it. Who does that? Hey, and these are the kind of people that the left wants to constantly defend? Well, y'all got to be sick too.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Here we are, hour number 2 here on the Rod Eccles Show. It is Wednesday, hump day. It is June number 7 in the year of our Lord 2017. And I must apologize. We did not get to today's holidays. We will do that in the next hour. Obviously, y'all know what this time of day is. By the way, the call-in number is 603-835-3226. And, I got to say, I last night I was, you people just do not understand how I was bristling with anger last night. And yeah, I was so mad. I mean, I was royally ticked. Like I said, if I was on the air last night at the time I was doing pre-show prep, I would have dropped the F-bomb on the air. I can't remember. You know, why? How is it that liberals are the ones that can get me this mad? You know, they say people who you love, your family members, they're the ones that hurt you the most and get you pissed off the most. There's nobody in my family that has ever gotten me that. I mean, it was. If I was, now this is not being racist, but it's the truth. If I was white, I am sure you would have noticed my face being blood red. I mean, if you could have poured water on top of my head and probably was steam would have been coming off of it. That's how angry I was. And so I had to send a warning to Agent 0010 last night saying, warning him, but if this carries over into this morning, and I'm still pretty upset. Trust me, I may be sounding calm right now, but underneath I am just seething. And so I had to send him a warning saying, delivering his report this morning, I may go off into a rant on him. And he assured me that was okay. So without further ado, let's get to it. It is time for the Intel Report with Agent 0010. Good morning, Agent. How are you?
Greetings and salutations to one and all. How you doing, Rod?
I am still blessed and highly favored, even if I am a little angry this morning. I'm a black man on the edge.
Oh, damn.
People don't
Thank
get
God
that
you're not
reference.
a postal worker.
People never get that right. Just for people's reference sake, that's what Donkey said in Shrek. I'm a donkey on the edge. So I just took it over and just replaced donkey with, maybe I shouldn't say that because Eddie Murphy's a black guy and he played the donkey, so I don't know. I wouldn't say Eddie Murphy's a jackass, but, well, anyway. What do you got for us this morning?
Okay, I did some snooping because that's the kind of guy I am.
You're a snooper snoop.
Say again?
Said you're a snooper's snoop.
You could say that, yeah. I can go with that.
Or would it be super snoop? No, because then you sound like you're Snoop Dogg or something. No.
Yeah, that's egotistical. But I found a 2013 FISA court order. Now, this is how it goes. The FBI goes to the NSA because Pfizer is part of the NSA establishment. So the FBI goes to the NSA and they say, listen, we need A, B, C. Okay, fine. So then the NSA goes to Pfizer court. The Pfizer court just almost, and I mean literal, and I literally mean almost 100% of the time, grants these court orders, allowing the NSA to collect this data. Well, the FBI in 2013 went to the NSA and requested that data from Verizon MCI, but not just Verizon MCI as in like your cell phone or any other listener's private cell phone. We're talking their business accounts.
Yeah,
I'm talking
business accounts. So I mean, any sort of business communicate. Business secrets too are being revealed here.
Exactly. So this request was issued in April of 2013.
By the way,
so,
do people understand that it is a corporate espionage is a serious white-collar crime in this country? Just so people have a reference, when you go snooping on businesses, there's one thing to snoop on a private individual, but it gets up a level when you do corporate espionage. That's how serious they take this stuff. So this is what they did in 2013. They went and got records and they snooped on business, not just private individuals, but businesses. That's corporate espionage, people.
Exactly. Now, like I said, this court order was signed off on April 25th, 2013, and it was good for only 4 months. That's all they needed, 4 months. Now, during these 4 months, information was collected on James Rosen from Fox News, Cheryl Atkinson from CBS News, as well as the calls monitored for Associated Press. Because don't forget, they got hacked and listened in on too. Now, I'm sure your listeners are sitting there going, yeah, this is old news. Who gives a rat's fuzzy butt? Here's what is new news. During this time, a certain politician was eavesdropped on. And that politician is Ron Paul. Because here's what people don't seem to understand, or people don't have a knowledge about. That when you're a politician, it's not just you. You have an entire office. You have your office in D.C. You have your office back home in whatever state you're from. And you could have a good size group of people that work for you. So, of course, you're going to go for a small business account. Now, when FISA put in this request and approved it, it wasn't differentiating between a small business, medium business, or a large corporation. It was just all business accounts. So, of course, Ron Paul had a business account with, get ready, Verizon MCI. Because they are very strong in the state of Kentucky. So, and by the way, they're very strong in New York also, New York City. They are a dominating force in New York City when it comes to cellular communications, internet, so on and so forth. So Fox News, CBS, and AP have accounts with MCI because MCI is the business branch, the corporate branch of Verizon, because Verizon is owned by MCI. Now, in the process, Ron Paul was listened to. This is new news. Even though he claimed it, there is verification of that because I talked with certain people. And I asked them, hey, what about Ron Paul? They're like, oh, yeah, God, yeah. God, yeah.
And each senator has a goodly amount. Each senator has, depending on what state they're from, they have up to 50 employees. Now, it says here that I did a quick search. It says Ron Paul currently has approximately 43 full-time people on his staff, both in his home state and in D.C. That's considered to be a mid-sized business office.
Yeah, it is. But MCI is also in 65 countries worldwide. Let's not forget that. So was this focus mainly in the United States? I'm told, I'm not told anything, which tells me it is. My question was the focus mostly on the United States? Yeah, I can answer that. I'm not going to get into that. Oh, okay. Thank you. That speaks volumes to me.
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah, exactly. Now, even though people are like, okay, it was Ron Paul, the guy's a little loopy, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Here's where things get interesting. In the process, somebody requested or had a question, said, by the way, that jerk that's over at Trump Tower that said he had proof that I wasn't born in the United States, what system does he have? Lo and behold, guess what system he has? MCI. So they decided, well, let's listen in for a little while and find out what kind of proof he does have. Because you notice, even though the whole birther situation did start with a member of the Clinton campaign, not Hillary Clinton herself, but a member of her campaign when she ran for office the first time, brought up the question of, hey, exactly. And it was one of her weasels that called up the press and said, hey, I got a question for you. Have you looked into such and such a situation? But yet, even though President Trump, who endorsed Mitt Romney back in the day, in 2012, he supported Mitt Romney and jumped on the birther bandwagon.
Oh,
and even though he was the most vocal, he wasn't the one that started the whole thing. He did not lead the charge on that. He was just the biggest mouth.
The other thing is people seem to have forgotten is that Donald Trump toyed with very vocally of running for the presidency back in 2011 and 12, and then he publicly decided that he wasn't going to do it, and that's when he endorsed Mitt Romney. But people thought that he was going to be, because he was getting very close to the point where he was going to have to declare, and people thought that he was actually going to jump in and be serious at that time, and then he backed out and decided to support Romney, which is why they also thought that, oh, yeah, he's not going to run this time. He's going to do the same thing that he did before. But this goes back to 2011. So when now you see this guy who's still toying with the idea in 2012 after a Romney loss to Obama, of course Obama's going to try to go after this guy.
Exactly. Now, how do I know that this question was raised about the systems that are in Trump Towers? Again, I made a couple of phone calls, come to find out, yes, they have an MCI account, a large corporation account at Trump Tower. Now, he turns around and he says, let's get what we can get. This was verified by someone I have in not one, not two, but 3 agencies. All 3 agencies were like, yeah, he was pissed with Trump. He was enraged with Trump because Trump called him out on the whole birther thing, and now he wants to put a smackdown on Trump. He wants to basically collect data on Trump that if Trump tries something, he's got Trump backed into a corner. Come to find out, he has nothing on Trump. He couldn't have anything on Trump. It was impossible to get anything on Trump because, for the most part, the guy, he follows the law. He follows the letter of the law.
Pretty squeaky clean. I know. Hey, he's a billionaire businessman, and he's squeaky clean. That also ticks off the left because, every corporate CEO and billionaire and multimillionaire, they're criminals. They got their wealth by stealing it. But there's nothing on this guy.
Well, now people are going to turn around and they're going to say, well, he wouldn't rent his buildings to black people. Okay, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, let's clear the air about that. That was a class action lawsuit. In other words, he was not the only one that was being sued. There were dozens upon dozens of other influential developers from New York City that were dragged into this lawsuit.
Yeah,
now,
and it's because
when Trump was asked,
and the reality is that when you look at the lawsuit, it's because that none of these developers were focusing on or building so-called affordable housing. Everything that Trump builds is high class, so you got to have some money. But if you're a black guy or a Latino guy, black person or a Latino person who has the money to buy, he didn't discriminate who bought his stuff. No, he sold. If you had the money, he sold it to you. There was no discrimination.
Exactly.
The only discrimination is that Trump didn't want to do what his dad did. Joe Trump, and build moderate income housing. He didn't want anything to do with that.
No. And he was brought into the lawsuit because he did not build low income housing. Because I don't know where this law or this entire concept comes from, where if you're going to build high class or high end anything, you must also have low end. I've never read a law like that. I've yet to hear about a law on the books stating that you must also build low-end housing. Never seen it.
Nope.
Because, in all honesty, if you did that, that would be a violation of freedom of conducting business. I mean, there are laws that regulate companies. There are laws that regulate businesses, and these are directives that must be followed in order to either protect the environment or to protect, what have you, or to protect employees from dangers or hazards. But saying that if you're going to build 3 high-rise buildings, you have to build 50 low-end houses too? I've never heard of such a law.
No.
Well, that was the problem. He was dragged into that.
Yeah, there's nothing. I know in Boston they have this. This rent control issue that if you build so many apartments, then a certain number of them have to be available for low-income people. But the way to get around that is how you design and build the property. So if you've got a mixed-use piece of property where the top floor, let's say you build a 50-story building, well, the first floor is going to be loaded with retail in most places. Same within Boston and Cambridge, Mass. It's going to be retail. And then how they get around that low-income stuff is the next 2 or 3 or 4 floors are offices. Well, those would be reserved for low income. Well, you make them offices. Now that means the rest of the tower is now going to be high-end stuff, and you don't fall into having to. They try to do that, but developers are smart. They're not dumb. They don't want some hood rat in a building with a bunch of millionaires. I mean, that's going to bring down the property value. So they're not stupid. They figured out ways around it. The same with New York City. Trump does the same thing. If they have this rent control crap, he figures a legal way around the rent control trap. And so it doesn't bring down the value of his properties.
Thank you. That is exactly the situation. Like I said, it's not that he's told a black family, no, you can't. You're millionaires, and no, you can't move into one of my luxury apartments or luxury, floors. It's not the case, because as a businessman, the only color he cares about is green. He was dragged into this because, like I said, he didn't build low-income housing. Now, back to this whole situation. President Obama, now, if you notice, he got beat up a lot. President Trump got beat up a lot because of this whole birther situation that, like I said, was started by a high-ranking member of the Clinton campaign, the Hillary Clinton campaign. He got beat up on this a lot for one simple reason. He didn't have proof. And in order to beat someone up politically, to beat them up on something like this, you must know for a fact, 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, that they have no proof. And how do you do that? Espionage. Cut and dry. Simple, plain espionage. So, this is not when President Trump did actually run for office and win, that wasn't the first time he was wiretapped. That was his second time. Why do you think it was so easy for them to wiretap him and not know, nobody find out until it was too late? Because it's been done before. Practice makes perfect. We did it once, we're going to do it again. We know the obstacles. We know of any roadblocks. We know of any firewalls or anything that might get put up. We already know how to get around them. They just did it without anybody seeing a single solitary glitch. And that's how it was done. It was already done before.
Yeah.
Now,
they
like I said, go ahead.
Well, this is such a cabal, folks. It is such a cabal. Can you stay until after the break?
Certainly.
Okay. Folks, this is really a cabal, and don't go anywhere because we got more with Agent 0010. I mean, some of this stuff is, whoa, folks. I don't know. He may say something that sets me off. You never know. Hold on.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
(603-835-3226). Now, folks, I'm telling you right now, I'm sitting here biting my lip and squirming in my chair, trying to give 0010 the chance to get out his information and tell you, but I'm having a hard time, folks, because this stuff is just, it's historic. The sheer amount of corruption that has been going on at the highest levels of our government is staggering. And these, look, this is why a lot of business people actually try to get into politics. Why? Because that's where the power is. Everybody thinks that money's power. No. Power is power. Power attracts money. Money doesn't necessarily attract power. But power will attract money. So you got both of them. You got power and money as a politician. Oh yeah, that's what these people want. They want power. Money will come to them. They know it. Don't go. We'll be right back though. He's going to continue. Call Rod now. 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
And welcome back. Yes, I am still, you would have thought that sleeping it off a little bit would have diminished my anger. No, it didn't really. I'm still incensed. So right now, we're going to get back to the intel report where I'm told, and I'm sure that something else will probably set me off. So I'm going to do my best right now. I want to stick a cigar in my mouth and let Agent 0010 continue with his report. Go ahead, Agent.
Okay. I hope I don't set you off too badly. I got an earpiece. You might blow out my eardrum. But anyway. So as I was saying, President Trump was wiretapped when he was Donald Trump, private citizen, owner of Trump Corporation, living at Trump Tower. All because he upset the then President Barack Obama with the entire birther situation. Barack Obama wanted to see exactly what kind of information he had about his birth and everything else. Because Trump may not have started the birther movement, but was one of the loudest voices of the entire birther movement. So he wanted to see what kind of information that Donald Trump did have. Come to find out, President Trump had nothing. He absolutely had nothing. He was playing poker with the president, and President Barack Obama called his bluff. They do it all the time. Kennedy did it with the missile crisis in Cuba. He played poker with the Russians of all people. But anyway, so Donald Trump showed his hands, and it wasn't that he voluntarily showed his hands. It's because Barack Obama had his phone system wiretapped the first time in 2013. Then he had it done again when he was running for president in 2015-16. Now,
I'm going to say that
with all this being,
since you mentioned President Kennedy, he played poker and he won that hand. And I'm going to say this: Kennedy was later assassinated. Trump had nothing, obviously, of substantial on Obama, which is why Trump is still alive today. I'm just putting that out there.
Well, they did try the character assassination, and they're still trying it to this very day. But now, this really kind of, sometimes I really hate Fox News. I mean, I seriously sometimes hate Fox News because I find something out and I'm like, oh, damn. Oh, hell. And then all of a sudden, last night, here comes Sean Hannity. And we have a bomb to drop for you. I'm like, you bastard. You bastard. Oh, he beat me by 12 hours. So, here's the bomb. After the entire Edward Snowden situation had happened, and the president, Barack Obama, stood there and said, we will not wiretap or listen to American citizens any longer. Blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the monster lie. After that happened, 20 million names were unmasked from wiretapping. It wasn't just Jeff Sessions. It wasn't just Donald Trump. It wasn't just, General Flynn. It was 20 million, mostly Americans. And when I say mostly, I mean about 98% of them were Americans, were unmasked. For what purpose? I have no freaking clue. I have no idea. But they were unmasked, and many of those accounts were, get ready for this, folks, corporate accounts from MCI Verizon.
Well, yeah, it's a good thing I don't have, I have Verizon now, but I didn't back then. It's a good thing I was with Sprint, huh? I wish they still had BlackBerries. This is, you got to be kidding me. 20 million Americans who fall, folks, this is by far worse than Watergate. I mean, think about what brought Nixon. Nixon lied about some tapes when he tried to cover up. He had nothing to do with the break-in at Watergate, by the way. But some of his people were involved in that, and he tried to cover up for them. That's what brought him down. He didn't actually try to spy on anybody. It wasn't him. This is coming directly from the highest of highs, Obama himself, because you don't go to the FISA court unless it's the Attorney General or the President directs the Attorney General to do so. So this comes from him directly. This is by far worse than whatever Nixon could have thought of doing back then. And we got these liberals running around trying to protect this guy and trying to protect his legacy. The man, his legacy is that of corruption. He learned from the Clintons. He learned from Alinsky. He learned very, very well. And now he's the master of it. Unfreaking believable.
Now, mind you, in order to unmask these names, they must also collect data, metadata, conversations, text messages, whatever it may be. All this information had to be collected in order for it to be unmasked. So, 20 million names have been unmasked during this entire process. This was after Snowden. After Edward Snowden dropped the bombshell that the NSA was listening to people. Now, did I work at the NSA? Yes, I did. Proudly so. Very proudly so. I am very proud of the fact that I worked at the agency. Did I have a hand in any of that? No, that was not my lane. My lane was originally counter-narcotics, and then after that, counter-terrorism. This whole thing about American names was never part of my lane. I may have been told about a certain American having contacts with somebody in the area that I was operating and that I needed to go investigate this individual or receive data on this individual, but that's about it. That is the hand that I had. In case anybody's asking, well, weren't you at the NSA? Why are you throwing them under the bus? Because I'm sorry, even though I worked at the NSA, I believe in defending the American people, not invading their privacy and ripping their lives apart. There's a big difference.
This is what they have been doing, for years now. I mean, they had this is, some of the recent WikiLeaks dumps have shown that this is what they're fully capable of doing. They've had that capability. They've had that capability far sooner than most people realize. We think this is something new. Obviously, this is not all that new. They've been doing this for years.
They've been doing it for years, but they've been hiding it. And when certain aspects of it leaks out, all of a sudden, they try to, basically sever that part off. Okay, they can't know about the rest of it. So we'll admit to this much, segregate that, and make sure that they don't find out about the rest of what's going on. It's usual tactics. That's stuff that's been going on. That's a tactic that's been used for decades. So that part is not new. That's why whenever they say, and that's as far as it goes, I'm like, really? I need to find out more. Because I know for a damn fact there's more to the story. There's a lot more. Whenever they end with this phrase, and that's as far as it went, don't believe it.
Oh, it went further. Yeah,
that's like saying, that's like starting off a sentence when you ask a kid a question and they look at you and they go, well, what happened was, get ready, you're about to be lied to. You're in for a whopper of a lie, so sit down, get the popcorn. This is going to be a very creative story. And at the end, it's still going to be a lie because the kid's going to be lying to you.
Agent, I don't... So now you've got Trump in there. Well, let's face it. Now his name, Schumer. Schumer warned Trump. Now, you got to wonder why Schumer was warning Trump about this. Don't take on the intelligence community and these are Schumer's words because they got 9 ways of Sunday to get you. Now, do you think Schumer may have been one of those people that was unmasked and maybe he knows it?
Schumer, I wouldn't be surprised because Schumer's got friends in the intelligence agencies. He's got friends in the previous White House administration. The guy's he's got juice. He doesn't have as much juice as Tropicana, let's say, but he's got juice in D.C. and substantial amount as well. So I wouldn't be surprised. But, I mean, Chuck Schumer, well, we all know he's basically a weasel.
Yeah.
So last week I did tell you, and I did explain how the NSA is broken down, and there's a crap load of civilians, and all these leaks that are coming out of the NSA. I told you, I promise you, it's a civilian.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
And we just had somebody arrested. Yeah, civilian contractor. Reality Sarah Lee winner. Well, that's a different thing. But now, if this stuff is so easy for this 25-year-old blonde ditz, and no, folks, she's not a ditz because she's a blonde. She just happens to be a blonde that's a ditz. If somebody like her can abscond with this stuff so easily, I mean, obviously she's not a high-level, high-ranking individual that people aren't going to question. I mean, she's a contractor that has to be pretty much searched day in and day out every time she goes in and out. How is somebody like that able to get this stuff out to leak it? Is the information that insecure? And if so, who else could have all of this stuff?
She's just a translator. I mean, she used to sit there and information was given to her in a different language, like let's say Farsi or Arabic, and she would have to translate it. And, the position of a linguist basically deals with a certain region. Now, as far as, the information that she was leaking out to CNN, and I love how CNN paid her back. A signed autograph picture of Anderson Cooper. Oh, wow. Her life is now perfect. It's made. She can now sit back and retire after she gets out of prison and live the really good life.
Yeah, she can hang that picture in her jail cell.
Yeah, exactly. And how she got that information, there are various ways of doing it. I mean, there's a ton of ways of doing it. And I am not going to divulge any one of them on the air right now because that would be inappropriate.
Well, glad somebody still has integrity out there. Well, you're not within the D.C. community anymore, so I guess that doesn't really mean much. But let's not throw everybody in the intelligence community under the bus. There are still a lot of people working, and contractors too, working within the intelligence community that do have integrity and do hold the Constitution in high esteem. But there are just a few, and it doesn't take many to do damage, does it?
No, it doesn't. Edward Snowden, by himself. Look at all the damage he created. And, honestly, there's a contractor. The contractor company is named Booz Allen. I feel so bad for Booz Allen because recently there was another person sneaking out top secret documents out of the NSA, and he worked for Booz Allen too. And when they went to his house, they found a ton of things. I mean, they found more stuff there than you could shake a stick at. They didn't know where to begin because of all the sensitive information that he had gathered and brought home with him, which, oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is a no-no. Unless you have a courier identification or a courier credentials, you're not allowed to take anything out of the NSA, period. And he did it.
Well, Reality Winner didn't have any courier credentials, and evidently she took enough out to leak it to NSA. And she's not the only one, is she? There's still more that they have to ferret out, right?
Well, here's the most important question in my mind. What the hell were her parents smoking when they named her Reality Winner? Seriously?
I think her birth name is Sarah. I've seen that somewhere. It was Sarah. I think she changed her name to Reality. Now, I could be. I mean, I haven't really dug into this person's past and character, but I could have seen. I swear I've seen an article where her name was listed as Sarah Lee, Leigh, Winner. Her last name really is Winner, but Her first name was Sarah, but she changed it. I don't know if it's a moniker or if she actually changed it. We'll have to really dig into that to find out. But that's what she's known by now as reality winner. That's yeah. I don't even think liberal parents are that cruel.
She was in the Air Force. She was in the Air Force. Air Force people are weird.
Hey, we are not. Well, our heads are in the clouds.
Yeah, you are.
That's about
exactly.
All right.
Change your name to Reality Winner. There's your head's in the clouds right there.
Well, I thank you for your time and your efforts once again. Unbelievable information, Agent. As a parting gift, you got anything on what's going on in Detroit in that raid with the FBI to what has been revealed to be Uma Abedin's brother and sister's house? I think it's brother and sister-in-law, or is it brother-in-law and sister? One of the two. Related.
Yeah, there might be information. Okay, I'm not saying that this. What had happened was that rumor has it. Okay, rumor intelligence has it that there might be some information that may have been received, maybe, by her family, which then maybe, possibly, could have been sent overseas. Maybe.
Well, there you go. All right. Thank you so much, Agent. Once again, I really appreciate your candor and your hard work. Keep up the good work and stay safe.
Oh, I'll try. And y'all have a great one. Take care.
We'll be back, folks.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, "I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar." Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, "I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar." And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5+2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Warning. Listening to the Rod Eccles Show by the Idiot Left may cause outrage, fear, a need for safety pins and or spaces. If you experience any of these symptoms or are allergic to truth, tune in and learn something.
(603) 835-3226. That is the call-in number. It's one of the hardest things in the world to do, and this is from time immemorial here. Time immemorial. The hardest thing to do is to fight your own government. It is much easier to fight a foreign power. Yeah, it really is. I mean, I know this is the day after the celebration of it is a celebration of D-Day, and that's not easy. Obviously, war is not easy. But fighting your own government is even harder than that, as we see, because it isn't military against military. It's government with their vast, unlimited resources versus you. And we have a government that has been coming down like a hammer. I mean, first of all, they've taken a machete to the Constitution. So that wonderful armor-plated document that protects your head has been shredded. So now the government is free to bring its heavy hammer down on anybody's head that they want. About the only thing that doesn't happen in this country, and thank God for technology, is that at least in this country, people don't disappear all too often, like they can in some banana republics. But there's probably something just as bad or even worse, is that they end up dead. And the investigation is lackluster, is very thin, and you're told it's a robbery. When everybody knows that it wasn't a robbery. And I'm talking about Seth Rich here. It wasn't a robbery. The man was shot in the back. That's not what a mugger or a robber does. They don't shoot you in the back. They grab your goods and they go. Or if they do shoot you, they still grab your goods and go. This is, this is stuff that is far more sinister than anything that we as Americans have probably ever faced before. Don't go anywhere. We still got an hour left, folks. We're not done.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition, first thing I thought of was who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me. My doctor recommended Prevactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Prevactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife. The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. The fastest 3 hours on Internet Talk Radio is right here. Here it is, Wednesday, June number 7 in the year of our Lord 2017. 603-835-3226 is the call-in number, should you wish to utilize that. What we've got here, I want to read you something. This guy's taking a lot of heat for this, by the way. But let me read to you something that he said. The free world, all of Christendom, is at war with Islamic horror. Not one penny of American treasure should be granted to any nation who harbors these heathen animals. Not a single radicalized Islamic suspect should be granted any measure of quarter. Their intended entry into the American homeland should be summarily denied. Every conceivable measure should be engaged to hunt them down. Hunt them, identify them, and kill them. Kill them all. For the sake of all that is good and righteous, kill them all. And that is a quote from Captain Clay Higgins. Now, some of you might be saying, well, who the hell is Captain Clay Higgins? Well, Captain Clay Higgins was born in August of 1961. He is, as it is stated here, an American politician from the state of Louisiana. He's a former reserve deputy marshal of Lafayette County in Louisiana. He currently serves as a U.S. representative for Louisiana's 3rd Congressional District. He won that office by beating his rival, Republican Scott Angeli, in a runoff election held back in December of 2016. Now, Higgins served in the military police corps of the U.S. Army and the U.S. National Guard for 6 years. He then worked as a manager of a car dealership in Louisiana. He left that job in 2004 to become a reserve officer for the Opelousas Police Department. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Now, after serving in the department for 4 years, he spent 3 years working for the Port Barre Police Department. He joined the St. Landry Parish Sheriff's Office back in 2011. When the office's public information officer was reassigned in October 2014, Higgins succeeded her in that role and was promoted to captain. Thus, him being known as Captain Clay Higgins. Captain Clay Higgins, U.S. Representative from the great state of Louisiana, is being called out because he has called publicly for a Christian holy war on Islamic radicals. Kill them all. Now, most Americans, and I would dare say a growing number of Western Europeans, feel the same. Because their only goal, folks, is to kill you. Plain and simple. This is no different than, I know these people don't wear a traditional military uniform. They don't fight in traditional military battlefields like wars have always been fought. And by the way, that's a misnomer. Wars have not always been fought on battlefields. Soldiers didn't always wear uniforms. And this notion that, this is a different war because we don't know who the enemy is because they don't wear a traditional uniform. This is bullshit. Many wars have been fought with people that the soldiers didn't have uniforms. I mean, come on. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. And this whole thing that all battles have been fought on battlefields is also a bunch of bullshit. How many times have civilians been slaughtered by an enemy because they've overrun the defenses of that town or community and they just went in and killed everybody? And those they didn't kill, they raped and took the women that survived, and they took the little children, even if they were boys, and raised them as slaves. I mean, this has gone out throughout man's history. This is nothing new. Everybody, we have all these wonderful, powerful politicians that think that this is somehow, this is a whole new era in warfare. No, it's not. This is not anything new. By the way, it's also not anything new. You'd think we would learn from history, but this is not new of inviting the enemy to live among you, thinking that you can, humanize them. Well, if you don't even try to have them assimilate into your culture, how are you going to humanize them? Now, all throughout history, no matter where you might immigrate to, it was expected of you to assimilate into wherever you landed. This country is not the first country to ask immigrants to assimilate into the American culture. If you immigrate to France, you're expected to assimilate into the French culture, unless, of course, for some reason, you're Muslim. And that goes for any place else in the Western free world. Everybody's expected to assimilate into that particular country or culture unless you're Muslim. Muslims are the only ones that seem to be able to get a pass on this. And when they do this, they turn around and kill you. This is their whole mantra. I am getting sick and tired. I'm beyond sick and tired of people trying to convince me that Islam is a peaceful religion. First of all, it's not peaceful. It was born out of the sword. Second of all, it's not a religion. It is an entire way of life. That means your faith is in it, your politics is in it, your laws are in it, your culture is in it. It is an all-encompassing lifestyle, period. It is not a religion. I don't know why this is so hard for you freaking idiot leftists and centrists to understand that. I mean, for crying out loud, if you ever try to put in a Judeo-Christian law on the books that, it's based in the Bible, y'all jump up and down and scream separation of church and state, separation of church and state. But yet in Islam, the religion is the state. And we're supposed to accept them wholeheartedly and don't expect them to assimilate. Oh, you can't expect them to assimilate, Rod. You're going to take away their culture. Their culture is death. That is their culture. For centuries, they've been slaughtering each other, and then when they move outside of their own jurisdiction in the Middle East, they slaughter everybody else. And this guy is taking heat for saying what is the truth. If we're at war, you kill the enemy until the enemy capitulates. Period. And if that means you have to kill every... Look, hey, World War II, in the world, the Japanese generals, they wanted to keep going. After we dropped 2 nuclear bombs, they wanted to fight until the very last person. Those generals, they were against the emperor capitulating and surrendering. They're like, no, we can continue this fight. We can win. We're going to the last man. So unfortunately, that's the way wars are won. You kill or be killed. And then as you do the killing, you have to kill them until they capitulate. So if it means killing them all, then that is what you have to do. Remember, this is war, people. This is not the typical neat kind of war where, soldiers with uniformed soldiers are face off on a battlefield somewhere. No, it's not the modern day version of warfare, but it is still war. I swear to God, I do not understand why that is so difficult for people to understand that fact. I mean, do I gotta give you a history lesson for people to understand this? You know when uniforms came into being, and even then it really wasn't a uniform, is when soldiers decided to put armor plating on. Now, it could have been, armor. Could have been armor plating, could have been chainmail, could have been leather armor. Because regular people who weren't soldiers or fighters didn't usually have that kind of stuff. Those were the first. There was, you go into the battlefield, with your swords and clubs and maces and stuff. You had to know who the enemy. You had to know who was your friend, and you had to know who the enemy was because there was no uniform. Because you all looked alike. Often the only differences were ethnic differences. But there weren't uniforms. And then soldiers started wearing armor plating of various kinds, and it started to turn out by different areas of the world, they had different kinds of armor. So then you were able to recognize, well, they don't have the same armor we do, so that's the enemy. But we have not always fought wars and battles with uniformed soldiers. I mean, please, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. How many times did the Germans try to infiltrate Allied ranks by dressing as Allied soldiers and dumping their German accent? Oh, yeah, they learned how to do that. They learned how to do that. So this whole notion that I mean, by the way, as I'm reminded in the chat room, ancient Rome, almost all their soldiers, they were uniformed, but most of their battles were fought against people that didn't have uniforms. They called them heathens and stuff like that. They were the wildlings and there you go. Game of Thrones. Most of those armies have uniforms? No. I know it's a work of fiction, but it's based on reality, folks. It really is. Most of them are not uniformed. This whole notion. This whole notion that this is a different war because they don't wear a uniform. It's not new and it's not different. Even in World War II, we had to fight people that were not in uniform. They were well armed, though. Just unbelievable, the utter and sheer ignorance and stupidity. Kill them all!
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
And welcome back. Now is the time for a new segment being added to the Rod Eccles Show. It's a weekly segment here on the show. Every Wednesday, I will bring you Future Shock. Yes, Future Shock is a segment where I bring you information about things that some thought were going to be way into the future, but are now becoming reality, and it is disrupting just about everything we currently know. And it could be a shock to the system all over the world. This is something that we thought was going to be here first, but maybe not so. And, well, there's also the story earlier this week about somebody, a Philadelphia company who wants to try to reanimate people who are brain dead using stem cell technology. Yeah, what could go wrong with that, right? Yeah, let's bring back the dead. Literally. Yeah. But here's something that's a little bit lighter in subject, and that's a double entendre. There is a gyro drive vehicle. Yeah, and this is from the Czech Republic. This is in Yahoo News. Czech gyro drive beats flying cars for hybrid license. Yeah, global automakers compete to bring the first flying car to market, Czech pilot Pavel Brzezina is trying a different tack. Instead of creating a car that flies, he has made a gyro drive, a mini helicopter that you can drive. Now, this is evidently this is a throwback to, if people remember, the first flying cars literally were airplanes with wings that could fold, and it was small enough to, basically it was a two-seater, and I think there were some four-seat models. It was really an airplane, but it had wheels and that of an automobile. This is actually based on that type of idea, but instead it is it's a gyrocopter, meaning that it can fly and it can drive. Now it's got copter blades on it, but these copter blades, like the wings, they fold up, and so they're not in the way or hit stuff on when you're driving into your driveway or down the street. But this whole look, we're coming to an age where we're going to have flying cars. They're already here. We've got many flying devices. Anybody see the if you're a Spider-Man fan, the Green Goblet sled, flying sled? Well, there's a real one out there. So transportation is going to be disrupted big time within the next half decade. I mean, you've got Dubai, who is aiming to be the world's most technologically advanced city, where they want by 2025 to have 25% of their taxi service to be flying cars. Now, they're calling them drones that carry people, 1 and 2 people, but basically they're a flying car. If they're carrying a person, it's a car. And we have people all over the world now, governments all over the world we've had flying cars, by the way, since the 1980s. There was a company that tried to do this. The problem with it is the government got in the way back then, because they couldn't decide whether or not a person needed a driver's license or a pilot's license in order to have one of these things. Governments are trying to get in the way. But as we see, people will find different ways to get around government. It's what humanity does. Somebody puts a roadblock in our way, we go over, under, around, through that roadblock. And now it is at a point where governments can't delay this for too much longer. They can't prevent it. They tried preventing it. Not going to happen. So now we really have the possibility. And because governments are trying to delay this, they're putting off coming up with laws that govern flying cars. Now, frankly, if somebody were, is it illegal for somebody to have a car that flies? What if it does? If it doesn't have any wheels and it hovers? Is that illegal? Now, I'm really asking a question. I don't know. I don't think anybody's actually thought of it. So the reality is you could go out and build yourself a hovering car without any wheels. You'd probably get pulled over. But what are you going to get a ticket for? For not having any wheels? This whole, and I don't think that the future of vehicles is actually going to be some sort of propeller-driven product. Indeed, we have hovercraft already, and basically hovercrafts ride on a cushion of air. So it doesn't have a traditional propeller system, even like that of drones. So is some we have levitation devices. We have floating trains, basically high speed rail. Is that going to be the next? I think that is. And I had something here to bring to you in the Future Shock report, that there is a company out there, an American company, that is working on just that, by the way. All of this is going to be hashed out over the next few years. By the time we go to the polls to re-elect Donald Trump as president, transportation all over the planet is going to be on the verge of being vastly different from what it is today. Question is, are you ready for it? Because our governments aren't.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Bring the rain.
Welcome back, 603-835-3226. That is the number to call should you wish to join me on what's left of these busy broadcast moments here on the Rod Eccles Show. Got a story here about good old China. Beijing, it seems, and this is from DefenseOne.com, Pentagon says Beijing is now arming its man-made islands in South China Sea. Now, remember, China has built man-made islands, just raise them from the ocean floor, and it's taken them a few years to do it. But actually, it's taken them a relatively short period of time. I mean, they have 1.3 billion people, so, you know, if they have enough ships to be able to do that, then it's not too difficult, but this is what they have done. So now China, they built these man-made islands strictly for military purposes, and, you know, and I do believe that they were saying, well, you know, all these islands weren't for military purposes. Well, as it turns out, China is now outfitting its man-made island outpost in the South China Sea with warplane hangars and weapons, and the Pentagon released this information yesterday in its annual assessment of China's military. Once finished, the People's Liberation Army Air Force intends to base 3 regiments of warplanes there, says the report, which was generated on May 15th and released yesterday. Although its land reclamation and artificial islands do not strengthen China's territorial claims as a legal matter, who cares about legal matter? Now you're talking about military matter. I love this stuff. Well, it's not legal for China to be there. Okay, any world police gonna, you know, arrest them and boot them out? Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't get this whole this whole international law type of crap. This is, you know, more bullshit, really. International law is dumb. I'm sorry. Yeah, sure. You can agree on rules on how to govern the open seas and open air and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes right down to it, who's going to enforce the so-called law? Who's going? Try doing it and try, you know, getting on these Chinese islands and arresting all these military people. See what China does. Yeah, because they're not going to recognize any international policing authority. Well, hell, we don't. Well, I mean, there are people that say that we let the UN do all kinds of stuff in this country, and that may be true. But again, you go to some international. Where is in was it Belgium? The international or the international court. Again, what a waste of time. Think about this in international courts where nations take legal action against one another. Well, again, what a waste of time. Who's going to enforce a judge's decision? Who's going to enforce it? Honestly, can we get away from this crap finally? I mean, it's a bunch of, you know, it's a bunch of wonderful, so-called well-meaning politicians get together in a room and they, well, we can settle these differences if we just go to court. Okay, we'll go to court then. And then the side that loses in this international bogus court, what do they usually do? They usually give the judge in the court a finger and walk out the door and say, we're not changing anything. And then everybody says, well, we're going to go to the UN and get sanctions. When was the last time sanctions actually worked? Didn't we try for like 50 years to put sanctions on Cuba? Did that work? We got sanctions on Russia. Is that working? Is Russia doing what we want them to do? No. We put sanctions on top of sanctions on top of sanctions on Iran and North Korea. Has that worked? No. So how the hell is going to some international court going to do anything? It doesn't do it. I mean, let's face it, folks. It doesn't do a damn thing. Well, how else are we going to settle these differences, Rod? Well, unfortunately, when you got two opposing forces and neither one is willing to bend, it's called war. Now, I know we don't want to always jump the gun, double entendre intended, and go to war willy-nilly. But let's face it, that's the only way differences like this get settled. We tried diplomatic, channels. We've been trying diplomatic channels with our enemies for decades now. They're still our enemies. The only way you eliminate an enemy is you just overpower them militarily. Because a lot of these places, they don't care about economics. They get their money that they need anyway, somehow, some way, by hook or crook, and they find somebody else that they can trade with that isn't going to pay attention to all these so-called international sanctions. I mean, hell, we had international sanctions against Iraq, and then one of our own staunch allies, France, ignored them and still did business with it. It happens all the time. Can we really get serious about this stuff for once? Can we stop pussyfooting around and think that you're so erudite and so smart, so intelligent, and so wonderful that you're going to use diplomatic... There's no such thing as diplomatic channels in this kind of stuff. Didn't we try to use diplomatic channels to stop China from building the islands in the first place? Oh yeah, what did China do? China told the entire world to go screw. Think, well, how do you know that? Well, because they built them, didn't they? Everybody said, no, you can't do that. You can't. That's not right. You shouldn't be doing that, China. You should stop. Stop that, China. We're going to slap your hand if you don't. You're being a naughty, 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 naughty China. And China looked at the world, at everybody that was saying that they couldn't do that, gave them the finger and did it anyway. Because there's no authority. There's no controlling legal authority, as Al Gore once said. By the way, if you have no controlling legal authority, what keeps governments from doing whatever they damn well want? Well, obviously, nothing keeps them from doing what they want, even within our own government. Remember when did Al Gore say? He said that, almost 20 years ago? There's no controlling legal authority. I mean, really? So what do you do when somebody says that? Well, they're most likely right. So this is why you also have to, sure, go ahead and use diplomatic channels to try to talk somebody. You can try to talk somebody off the ledge. And sometimes that works. Most of the time it doesn't. Especially when it comes to international matters. So what do you do after that? Oh, we'll talk some more. The time for talk is over. The time for diplomatic channels on a lot of the world's problems and issues is over. If you can't get them to capitulate or come to the table and agree to at least some sensible terms, they're never gonna. After all that the international community has done, as far as diplomatic channels and economic channels and all other kinds of channels except for total war, then what's going to stop them? Nothing. Short of total war. And if you go to war, what do? You kill them all until you keep killing them. You kill, unfortunately, until they capitulate. I don't know why that's so. Look, I know. Well, Rod, you're supposed to be a Christian. Yeah, I am. But it doesn't mean that you get to walk all over me. It doesn't mean you get to walk all over my country. It doesn't mean you get to walk all over the entire world. There is evil in this world, and it is the job of the good to eliminate evil one way or the other. You can't control it. Can you imagine if, World War II, Hitler, we're gonna, end this war using diplomatic channels. How'd that work out? Neville Chamberlain, we're going to prevent war by using diplomatic channels. Yeah, that didn't work out so well, did it? And yet we find ourselves repeating the same stupid Neville Chamberlain mistakes. When are we going to realize we're wrong? When we're in the middle of World War III? Because a bunch of politicians sitting up in the UN with their, their hands, parsed and their lips parsed and thinking, we can talk this out. We'll, if we have to talk forever, we'll talk forever, but we can talk this out. No, you can't. While you're busy talking, and China is sending its delegation talking to you, but behind the scenes, they're building. While we're talking over here, in North Korea, Kim Jong-un is over there building. While we're talking about peace in the Middle East, Iran is building. It's time we wake up, folks. Time we wake up. I know some of you say, well, God, that's kind of serious, man. We can talk this out. You don't want to talk anymore. You're just a warmonger. No, I'm not a warmonger. I'm a realist. This from the Wall Street Journal. This is the first thing that I found last night that really started to set me off. Right after the London attacks, you got this joke of a mayor from London, who's a Muslim, by the way. Go figure how the hell he got elected. He's, Trump shouldn't be able to, the president of the United States should not be able to come to England because of what he said about Islam. Are you freaking kidding me? And guess who takes that tone, a similar tone, and marches out to the nearest microphone and starts spouting off all kinds of additional bullshit? Yes, the British Prime Minister, Theresa May, she has criticized the American Silicon Valley for not cracking down enough on terrorist propaganda online. Yes, online terrorist propaganda is still a challenge for tech companies. We need to have more control over the internet so we can prevent terrorists from propagandizing other people using social media and other technical services that are online. We need to be able to regulate the World Wide Web. And I call upon all the wonderful people and politicians of the Western world to crack down and begin to regulate the internet. Now, she must think that we're some kind of stupid. We've already got all kinds of regulation. We got. Well, I don't know. I mean, if you criticize Islam on many social networks, well, you could probably have your account, frozen and put in jail or eliminated, without any warning. There is no warning. So if you point out the evils of Islam, you're the one that's being targeted, not those who are actually doing recruiting online. And by the way, do you think that they only use social media? Does Theresa May really think that radicalizing people only happens via social media? Is that what? If that's what she thinks, then she's a bigger idiot than I thought.
What if I told you that you could lose weight simply by drinking coffee? Change your coffee, change your life. Our gourmet estate-grown coffee is infused with powerful herbs that help you melt fat and keep you from feeling hungry for 6+ hours. Get results or your money back. Order yours today at skinnycoffeeshop.com. That's skinnycoffeeshop.com. Tea and water also available. skinnycoffeeshop.com.
Have a legal problem and need some serious legal advice? Then you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Any facts we say here are probably wrong, and any analysis of the law should not be followed.
There you go. Reasonable men are here to take a twisted look at the law.
Stack your hayride.
Learn in hand. Best name in law school.
Check us out on iTunes, reasonablemen.com, or on your favorite podcast app.
Reasonable men are back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
I don't know what it's going to take for our so-called leaders to get. I don't know what their end game is. Because every time you think, well, you know what their end game is, and you realize, well, no, they're shooting themselves in the foot too. It doesn't make any sense what they're doing and saying. And when you get somebody who actually tells you the truth, like Captain Clay Higgins, who says, the only thing you can do is kill them all. You kill them until they capitulate. And then they go to a guy like this. I mean, can you imagine if I were already on national radio all over the country? The hate I would get coming my way after this program today. I mean, It's if you ever follow me on Facebook or Twitter, or especially Facebook, I mean, it's just the some of the groups out there is just absolutely the hate that comes my way when I say something that is absolutely truthful, and then I point out how hypocritical they are, especially when it comes to this so-called Muslim ban. 6 countries out of 50. And you point out, and you even show them the link, and you give them the video and audio of Obama doing the same damn thing, And they still say that Trump's the bad guy. And that Trump is inciting violence. And that every time now that there is a terrorist, this is what's happening, folks. Now that whenever there's a terrorist attack now, they're all on the left are going to jump on the bandwagon and blame Donald Trump for it. It's Trump's fault that those three idiots in London jumped into a rented van and drove across London Bridge, running people down, then jumped out of the van and started stabbing people. That's Trump's fault, according to the left. And not just over there, but here too. I mean, it's unbelievable. Well, because Donald Trump is inciting them to violence. His ban. I mean, Maxine Waters. Trump's travel ban is inciting Muslims here to violence. Are you kidding? As if we don't have a right to control our own borders and who comes into our country? Since when? Oh, well, by, Euro standards, the Economic Union of Europe, I guess that's why Britain's leaving. No. Hey, by the way, Theresa May, hey, you guys voted to get out of the EU because of the shit that's happening in your country, and you want to blame the internet? I mean, come on. When are we going to actually stop with the pussyfooting around? Call a spade, and simply say, Islam is a radical notion. These people are not radicalized. I love that term. He was radical. They're not radicalized. This is how they're brought up. This is what they're taught in Islam, in their 3 holy books. It teaches them as a penance to God to be good in Allah's eyes. You got to do this kind of stuff. That's not radicalization. That's just simple. Well, I mean, hell, anytime a Christian does anything that you don't like, you say, well, that's you don't say that being radicalized Christians, do you? No, you just say, well, Christianity is just evil, mean. Christians say that homosexuality is a sin. Christians do not grab homosexuals off the street, drag them up multiple flights of stairs to the top of an 8 or 10-story building and throw them off. Try to bring that up with about that happening with Islam and all. You're anti-Islamic. You're just so mean. You're terrible. You don't know what you're talking about. All you're doing, Rod, is by saying that you want to kill them all, kill like Captain Higgins, is claim. All you want to do is claim this kind of stuff, and all that's doing is inciting them to violence. Well, Snowflake, you think that's inciting them to violence? Snowflake, bitch, you already did that. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain what, why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.